trusted news source, ABC6 News at noon.
Right now at noon, we begin with a check on the forecast. Looking live outside right now with our sky cam. It is overcast and chilly out there. Storm tracker meteorologist Chelsea Priest is live in the Weather Center with details. Hi there, Chelsea.
Hey, Doreen. Good afternoon to you. Hi, everyone. We are looking at some overcast conditions and chilly temperatures, especially compared to the really mild weather we had for the first couple days of the year. We're sitting at 28 degrees in Providence right now. There's a breeze, too, out of the north, around 15 miles per hour, making us feel more like the teens. So really chilly outside. And that's setting the stage for the potential of some snow to move into the area. Now, we're mainly going to focus in at the coastline. You can see that snow has been impacting Nantucket for a little while, inching closer to Block Island, kind of hovering right along the coast. The highest risk of accumulating snow is happening for areas farthest southeast. Nantucket going to see the jackpot of any snowfall totals. But coastal Rhode Island could see a coating to an inch or so, maybe 2 inches out in the New Bedford, Cape Cod area. So we're going to continue to watch most of this moisture that you're seeing on the satellite radar image stay to our south and eventually push off to sea. Because Nantucket is under the jackpot totals of about 3 to 6 inches, there's a winter storm warning out that way. The Cape and the islands, including Block Island, under a winter weather advisory until 9 p.m. Again, what we're looking at is only a coating or so for our inland locations, and those higher amounts will happen for areas farthest southeast. And even at that, this isn't a major winter event. We're looking at chilly temperatures today, overcast with some flurries in the Providence area. We'll clear out and we get pretty chilly overnight. I'll have much more in just a few minutes. Doreen?
Chelsea, thank you. And now to our continuing coverage of the coronavirus. Schools across Rhode Island are feeling the impact of the COVID surge. 2 schools in Warwick making the call to go virtual today due to staffing shortages, with many teachers in quarantine. And now Johnston High School also dismissing students early for this same reason. ABC6 News reporter Laura Puglisi is live in Johnston with more on this. Laura.
Well, Doreen, students here at the high school were let out early around 11 a.m. after about 23 staff members here called out sick. It's a problem many parents across the state worry will only get worse in weeks.
Like 110% sure it will happen again.
Parents across Rhode Island frustrated but not surprised as staffing shortages hit schools across the state. Amelia Baker has a freshman at Johnston High. Her day was cut short as the school couldn't properly staff afternoon classes.
I work in a pediatric respiratory center, so we're actively testing sick kids. It's easier with the older one because she can go home by herself. But if it was the little ones, obviously you'd have to leave work.
Parents in Johnston found out about the early dismissal at about 7 this morning, giving them a short window of time to adjust their day. It was a similar story for parents at 2 Warwick schools. Officials at Warwick Veterans Middle School and Windman Middle School announced late last night they would be shifting to virtual learning Monday due to staffing shortages.
I have my own business that I have to run. I am not comfortable leaving my 12-year-old home alone for more than a couple hours at a time.
Jamie Lynn Berard has a 6th grader at Windman. He was sent home for the week before break due to COVID protocols because he had a migraine. Now he's missing more school.
You know, for him to miss that whole week before break, and now to get an email at 9:30 at night was just like they could have given us a little bit more of a warning.
While parents say they understand there's no easy answer, many wish schools would make a choice and stick with it.
I know it's a slippery slope. Do we put the kids in school? Virtual learning, in my opinion, is not the answer. Again, we've been doing this for years now.
It's not clear right now if these closures continue on into tomorrow, but of course, we're going to keep you updated with those and any future closures coming in the future on air and online at ABC6.com. Reporting live in Johnston, I'm Laura Puglisi, ABC6 News.
Learned that Wilbur McMahon School in Little Compton is doing distance learning this week due to an increase in staff members testing positive. We're told the town is also in the high transmission zone for the first time since last March. And the Rhode Island Department of Education is not ready to adopt the CDC's shortened quarantine guidance. In a letter to superintendents, Commissioner Angelica Infante-Green says guidance remains unchanged from before winter break. That is despite Governor McKee saying the shorter 5-day quarantine for COVID-positive students who are asymptomatic or have symptoms was coming to schools at his Thursday press conference. Infante-Green's letter says not making the change yet is out of an abundance of caution, and the new CDC guidance is still being reviewed. Meanwhile, some Rhode Island districts are using a staggered model to return to school, and Providence is one of them. Students in preschool, kindergarten, grades 1, 6, and 9 return today in person. Tomorrow, grades 2, 3, 7, 10, and 11 go back. And on Wednesday, students in grades 4, 5, 8, and 12 will be back in the classroom. Students who aren't in person will be distance learning on laptops that were given out before winter break. And more than 100 positive COVID cases were detected in East Providence after a back-to-school testing event yesterday. The superintendent of schools saying 113 tests came back positive out of a total of 790 students and staff who were swabbed. That's a positivity rate of over 14%. Teachers and other faculty members served as volunteers for the event.
I think for the next 6 to 8 weeks, we have a real challenge ahead of us with staffing and trying to keep all of the students safe and staff being able to come in. I think that's a real issue we're going to be looking at.
The school department got 2,400 test kits from the state to use for the clinic and in the schools. Staying in East Providence here, keep an eye on the road and your speedometer if you're headed by a school today. The new school traffic safety camera program is done giving warnings. 9 cameras have been installed near 5 schools in the city. Those cameras went up in November and a 30-day warning period followed. Now, if you're caught going over the speed limit, you'll be fined $50. The cameras are on from 7 until 4. And it's back to school in Massachusetts today. Governor Charlie Baker saying that the message for schools in the Bay State is simple. Keeping kids in the classroom is the top priority. Casey Cantz is live in the newsroom with more on how they're doing that. Casey?
Yeah, a little bit of a different story than in Rhode Island, Doreen. Governor Baker joined by Salem Mayor Kim Driscoll this morning, both emphasizing the way they are testing students and staff and how it has been a huge component to why most schools are back in person in Massachusetts today. Speaking Saltonstall School this morning, the governor's saying that the majority of school districts are back open for in-person learning today. And a big reason for that, he says, is the aggressive testing policies that many of the schools have implemented. Governor Baker says because of testing programs like the test and stay method, for example, they've been able to save roughly 450,000 school days this school year.
There was all kinds of talk last week about how school wouldn't open in Massachusetts today. School did. Pretty much across the Commonwealth. There are a very small number of districts that aren't in school. Some started late, but the vast majority of the school districts in Massachusetts, thanks to the hard work of so many people who were part of those school districts, are open today.
Well, the governor going on to say that schools must provide students with 180 days of in-person learning this year. He said roughly 2,200 schools are taking part in testing one way or another. Staffing at Massachusetts schools also has been a focus, as it was emphasized today that they do anticipate more teachers will miss time in the coming weeks due to COVID. Live in the newsroom today, Casey Cantz, ABC6 News.
All right, Casey, thank you. Students at Wareham Public Schools will get an extra day of winter break. The superintendent canceling classes because of a staffing shortage with too many teachers out sick. Classes are expected to resume tomorrow. The school department says they'll send out an update to families today. And all across the country, COVID cases are skyrocketing. More than 400,000 cases reported a day. ABC's Rena Roy has the latest.
As COVID cases multiply fast coast to coast, some schools taking more precautions in the new year. Atlanta public schools going remote temporarily, along with Cleveland, Milwaukee, and Newark. But in New York City, about 1 million students are expected to be back in person with new COVID safety measures.
We lost almost 2 years of education. We can't do it again.
Chicago and Boston also sticking to in-person learning, with Massachusetts distributing more than 227,000 rapid tests to staff. Dr. Fauci telling ABC he supports keeping kids in classrooms as much as possible.
I plead with parents to please seriously consider vaccinating your children, wearing masks in the school setting, doing test to stay approaches when children get infected. I think all of those things put together, it's safe enough to get those kids back to school.
Cases skyrocketing more than 200% in the past 2 weeks. Now more than 400,000 reported a day, more than ever before. And there's growing concern for children. Last week, the nation seeing a 66% increase in pediatric hospitalizations because of COVID-like symptoms, including Sarah Barlow's 2-year-old daughter.
The high fevers came in waves. It can get bad. It's not just a simple cold for for everybody.
This morning, the FDA authorizing booster shots for 12 to 15-year-old, and Dr. Fauci saying the CDC may now update some of its new guidance, potentially recommending people with asymptomatic infections and no fever to get a negative test before ending their isolation at 5 days. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
Well, still to come here at noon, the probe into the Capitol, riots heating up as we approached 1 year since the deadly insurrection. Where the investigation stands right now. In national headlines this afternoon, as the nation approaches 1 year since the deadly attack on the U.S. Capitol, the House Select Committee's investigation is in full swing. Here's ABC's Faith Abube with those details.
While a mob of his supporters attacked and desecrated the seat of American democracy on January 6 last year, GOP Representative Liz Cheney, the vice chair of the House Select Committee, claims former President Trump sat in front of a television in the White House watching the violence unfold.
The committee has firsthand testimony now that he was sitting in the dining room next to the Oval Office watching the attack on television.
Cheney adding that she believes if Trump won re-election in 2024, it could mean the end of American democracy.
He crossed lines no American president has ever crossed before.
But the committee says it wasn't until more than 3 hours into the chaos that Trump released this recorded message asking his supporters to go home. A brand new ABC News Ipsos poll now showing a majority of Americans believe Trump bears some responsibility for the attack. 72% also saying they believe that the riot was a threat to U.S. democracy, but only 45% of Republicans agree. As the House Select Committee investigation picks up steam, Chairman Benny Thompson says the panel isn't ruling out criminal referrals.
If in the course of our review, we find something that we think warrant review or recommendation to the Department of Justice, to be honest with you, we'll do it.
So far, the DOJ has opened more than 700 criminal cases against suspected rioters. More than 165 have already pleaded guilty as the committee separately zeroes in on whether the insurrection was a coordinated attack.
It could be people in the executive branch, could be people in the Department of Defense, some state characters, some nonprofits, and some very wealthy individuals.
There are several events being planned to mark the 1-year anniversary of the attack, including a speech Thursday by President Biden. In Washington, Faith Abube, ABC News.
Still to come, a battle over 5G. Why 2 major cell phone carriers are refusing to delay the rollout of their new wireless services. And a bizarre exit from expatriate Antonio Brown during Sunday's Bucs game against the Jets. Hear what Tom Brady is saying about it. In consumer news this noontime, AT&T and Verizon are rejecting a request from the FAA to delay the rollout of their new 5G wireless services any further. The cell phone carriers plan to start it up on Wednesday, but there is concern the launch could disrupt the airline industry and planes' electronic systems. AT&T and Verizon argue the potential interference from 5G signals can be mitigated. And Samsung has added a twist to its Eco Remote. The solar-powered device can stay charged by using radio waves from your router. The goal is to eventually eliminate batteries as a power source.
And now, your ABC6 Storm Tracker weather with meteorologist Chelsea Priest.
Well, we are looking at some light snow showers down just to the south of us right now. We're going to focus in on coastal locations today, especially for areas farthest south and east. Nantucket going to end up with the jackpot of snow with this system. And even at that, this isn't a major snow event. We're talking about 3, 4, 5 inches for Nantucket alone. As you head farther inland, it's less and less snow in the Providence area. Really only a few flurries in the forecast. What you're looking at right now is a little bit of some light snow starting to show up over Block Island. It's been very dry today, so a lot of this hasn't even reached the ground just yet. We do have a winter weather advisory for the Cape, the Vineyard, and Block Island until 9 p.m. this evening. And again, it's Nantucket where we'll end up with the higher snow totals as this storm system stays mainly out to sea and pushes offshore. That's in place until 9 p.m. today, a winter storm warning. What you're looking at over Block Island right now certainly looks like winter. Waves are certainly picking up a bit. You may start to see a few flurries in the next half hour to an hour or so, and we'll continue to see light snow as the day goes on. It's cold enough for snow after such a warm weekend for this time of year. We are now in the mid to upper 20s, a significant drop in temperatures from this time yesterday. 24 hours ago, we were running 20 to 25 degrees warmer than where we're at right now. And on top of that, there's a little bit of a breeze coming in from the north, 10 to 15 miles per hour, a few gusts for our coastal locations, and that's making us feel more like the teens outside. So without even talking about light snow showers in the forecast, it is very cold, and tonight is going to be very cold. Here's a loop over the past 6 hours. You can see the precipitation has stayed mainly just to our south, and that's why the coastal locations today is what we're going to be watching, because overall, this large storm system that's impacting especially areas down in D.C., the mid-Atlantic states, a lot of snow accumulating there. Most of this continues to move to the northeast and eventually farther east. So we're only on the northern fringe of this low system as we head through the afternoon. 3 o'clock, you can see coastal locations dealing with snow, just a few flurries for some of our inland locations. By about 7, 8 o'clock, we're just overcast out there. You can see a few snow showers lingering out towards Nantucket, but all in all, that system clears out pretty quickly. We wake up tomorrow morning with sunshine, but it is very chilly to start the day. Tomorrow's sunny and cold. Into Wednesday, we'll warm up. That's going to come with some scattered rain showers. What we're talking about for snowfall totals, again, maybe an inch or so at the immediate coastline, and even that may be on the high end. It's along the Cape, out over the islands and out towards Nantucket that we end up with a few more inches of snow possible. About 30 degrees today. Again, a few flurries for our inland spots, including Providence, Northwest Rhode Island, Kent County too. And then along the immediate coastline and farther southeast, you have some steadier snow showers. Besides the evening flurries, we clear out. Temperatures dip down to the teens by tomorrow morning. Tomorrow looks mainly sunny and chilly with temps only in the mid-30s. We'll be into the low 50s on Wednesday, though. That's going to come with afternoon rain showers, back to the seasonable temperatures on Thursday. Doreen?
All right, Chelsea, thanks. Still to come here at noon, the Patriots are headed to the playoffs once again. We're recapping yesterday's monster victory over the Jags. In Patriots news today, New England is once again heading to the playoff after yesterday's blowout victory over the Jags. The Pats now take on the Dolphins this Sunday. The game in Miami will be at 4:25. The league moving kickoff to the same time as the Bills game against the Jets. If Buffalo loses and New England wins, the Patriots win the AFC East again. And former Patriot Antonio Brown is again looking for another job today after becoming emotional on the sideline during the Bucs-Jets game yesterday. Brown took off his jersey and pads and threw his shirt and gloves into the stands at MetLife Stadium. Quarterback Tom Brady and the Bucs offense on the field during all of this. After the game, head coach Bruce Arians said Brown was no longer a Buck.
I think everybody should find, hopefully do what they can to help him in ways that he really needs it. And, we all love him. We care about him deeply. We want to see him be at his best. And, unfortunately, it won't be with our team. But I think the most important thing about football are the relationships with your friends and your teammates, and they go beyond the field. And, I think everyone should be very compassionate and empathetic toward, some very difficult things that are happening.
And this is just the latest chapter in the Antonio Brown saga. Most recently, Brown had gotten into hot water with the NFL for violating league protocols with a fake vaccination card. Well, coming up on ABC6 News at noon, a celebration of the life of Betty White. We'll tell you all about a special opportunity to remember her later this month. Plus, Chelsea has another look at that afternoon forecast right after this. Well, Betty White is gone, but certainly not forgotten, and fans have a special opportunity to remember her this month. Betty White, a celebration, a documentary to celebrate her life and career, will go on with its pre-planned release. The documentary will play in theaters one night only, January 17th, White's 100th birthday. So many tributes to her, and she's just so warm and friendly, Chelsea. She was just one of a kind.
I know, and so close to 100, but 99, what a life she lived.
So
I mean,
true.
Incredible, incredible life, and brought so much happiness to all of us.
You can't help but smile talking about Betty
White.
I
I know. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Doreen, we are looking at some light snow showers possible, mainly at the coastline today, a few flurries in the Providence area, and then the farther south and east you go. If you're listening and you're out on the Cape or especially over Nantucket, some steadier snow and some accumulation expected through the afternoon and evening. We'll clear out overnight. We dip down to the teens. Tomorrow is sunny and cold, highs only in the 30s. Doreen?
All right, Chelsea, thank you. And thank you for joining us for the news at noon. The news continues first at 4. Have a great day, everybody.